This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Well, a very pleasant good evening. It's time for Startup Talk from Indian Rivers State. I was going to say Indian River University. Here we go. Indian River State College. What a way to get going. Year 5 of Startup Talk with Tom Kindred.
Well, I don't blame you, Greg. We took a little hiatus for a couple of weeks, but we are back live in the studio tonight, and I want to welcome everyone to another segment and installment of Startup Talk, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Resource Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. As I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will spend time during our hour together to highlight and create awareness regarding the very powerful and robust business assistance and support programs that exist right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, and I serve as the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center here at IRSC. Underwriters for this segment of Startup Talk are the Florida SBDC at IRSC and our good friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So, Greg, you've been doing all right. We did take a little break there.
Oh, doing fine. Right. And Coach Charlie Wilson sent me our schedule. Carol's going to like it because I'm out of town a lot. So it's a little different this year. We have home and home series with Hillsborough, and this will be our year, 13, and I don't remember playing Hillsborough over there. So that's going to be something a little different. And Polk as well. So, yeah,
well, good.
It's going to be a good schedule.
When does everything – that's
November 1 is the first outing.
Okay.
And we got to check with our engineer. What we may try and do, since we have a high school football game that night, is do the high school football game over the air and do the basketball game on the stream.
Nice.
Hey, we'll see what happens.
Pushing the technology here.
Oh, yeah, why not?
I know.
Yeah. What the heck?
Well, again, just to kind of recap the last 30 days here at the Florida SBDC at IRSC and the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute, coming off our 7th annual Entrepreneurship and Small Business Conference, which took place on campus on Tuesday, May the 7th, during National Small Business Week. We had a nationally recognized radio show host, and we had an author, Jim Blassingame, who was with us. We had a little opening event Monday night to had a little meet and greet with Jim. Had a good crowd for that. A lot of good folks in the building for that. He did a book signing Monday night. Tuesday, we kicked off the big conference. Pretty much 3/4 of the day conference. Had a good crowd. Probably had 140, 50 folks at the actual conference. Opening session with Dr. Jerry Parrish, who's been with us for a couple of years. Jerry, again, gave a great presentation about Florida's economy and where it's been and where it's headed. And then he breaks all that down to the Treasure Coast. And we went into lunch, and as we always do, we co-hosted our lunch with the St. Lucie EDC. So we kind of packed the Kite Center to the rafters.
Standing room only.
Standing room only for the lunch.
On several floors.
That's right.
Yes.
So had another excellent presentation. Jim Blassingame did the lunch presentation. We recognized about a half a dozen small business owners and operators, which we're going to feature over the coming weeks on Startup Talk here on WPSL and WSTU. So you'll get to hear from those folks that picked up some awards during National Small Business Week. So, again, great event. So we took about 4 or 5 days to catch our breath after that event, and then it was the Treasure Coast Business Summit the following Thursday. So we had two weeks that had some two big and value-added small business and entrepreneurship events.
And the Business Summit was jammed at the Civic Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
We did one of our our Pioneer Pitch events. We had 4 of our entrepreneurs pitch during the Treasure Coast Business Summit. Great panel. I had our good friend and savvy entrepreneur, Marcus Koya. We had our good friend, Dr. Maggie Chapa from Treasure Coast High School. She served as a panelist. Had a gentleman, one of her students that serves in the works and is in the international business program at Treasure Coast. He also served as a panelist, and we had someone from SCORE, the Treasure Coast chapter of SCORE. So we had a great time at the Treasure Coast Business Summit. Great event. 4 great pitches at that event. Joey Miller, our good friend Joey Miller, iconic local business owner and operator, was the headline speaker at the Treasure Coast Business Summit.
And I don't know how Doug and Mickey got their dad to speak as long as he did, but he was laughing during his speech that they worked with him for 3 weeks, and that's what Dana Travolsi was saying too. But and Joey had some great pictures, and going all the way back to day one.
Yeah, well, I had Joey Miller and Johnny Stam one night on the show. I need to get them back, but we had a great conversation. But growing up in Fort Pierce as I did, my grandfather was actually in the car business, and I remember Joey Miller as a young person myself, hanging out on my grandfather's car dealership. Joey Miller coming by and selling and delivering batteries. So I mean, incredible entrepreneurial story. I mean, guys started at the very beginnings of a business, and delivered and serviced and did all the work himself, and has built that into an incredible business.
Oh yeah. So, and Doug and Mickey will take it to the next level.
Yep. So anyway, it was two full weeks of entrepreneurship and small business. So a lot of fun, a lot of things going on, 2 great events, and I appreciate being part of those events. So tonight we've got some great guests. It's going to be great conversation, some great entrepreneurial things going on in Stuart. We're going to talk about that. We've got out in the waiting room our second guest. I've got our good friend Marcus Dixon, who is the executive director of the Multicultural Resource Center for Children and Families, an incredible nonprofit here in Fort Pierce doing all kinds of good work. I had the privilege and the opportunity to work with the MRC, as they call it, and their board of directors last week and this week, creating and facilitating a strategic plan for the organization. So we're going to talk to them a little bit about the organization and the process of going through that strategic plan. Mr. Mike James is also with us. He is a board member and a business owner himself from MRC. So we're going to talk to them. But tonight we're going to start with some young professionals out of Martin County who are doing some incredibly innovative work in creating and launching a very innovative facility down in Stuart called a 901 Hub, and it's co-working space designed for entrepreneurs. So I want to welcome to the show right now Renice Daluz. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone.
And we've also got Mr. K.C.Daniels. That's K and that's a C, and Daniel. Welcome to the show, K.C.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
Renice owns and operates her own company called Daluz Digital. It's a design and marketing firm down in Martin County, and K.C. is a commercial broker, owns his own firm, Associates Auction. So again, guys, welcome to the show. Now, let's start with just a little background. We'll start with you, K.C. A little background on yourself. What are you currently involved in, and then we'll get to how we all got to this 901 Hub.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Again, I'm very grateful to be here. Excited to be on this side of the radio rather than listening. I started as an auctioneer. My dad had an auction company here, and so I took over for that. And along that journey, I was also went to law school down in Nova. It was the closest, place, and I had a young family, so I was able to be that commuter and bring back some of that information here to the area. So really was able to see kind of the South Florida area and a lot of its fun amenities. And then when I came back to Stuart, wanted to stay in that area. So found out through IRSC how much fun it is to teach, and I knew a little bit more about law than a lot of the students that I had there, so it was fun to be able to give them that insight. And from that, I was able to meet up with a gentleman by the name of Anthony Olivieri, and we found a piece of property that he was purchasing, and it connects up to this 901 hub where we can provide a live-work environment. And so this is really the 901 hub is the genesis of this collaborative co-working space where we can have people work, and the next step of that is to provide housing that is much needed in Stewart for the area. So that's how we bring into the 901 hub.
So, Renice, kind of give us a little background on you. How'd you get to your current position, ownership of your digital marketing and design firm?
Well, thank you also for having me tonight. I first started my career working in experiential marketing in New York City, in Manhattan. After realizing it was a very volatile industry, I wanted to go over more to the design and digital aspect of marketing. It's, obviously continuously growing with the more and more in development of technology. And I recently moved to the Stewart area about 9 months ago. Daluz Digital, what we do is we provide SEO services, social media marketing, website design, branding design as well. And
we're not letting her out of here, by the way.
Yeah, you've got a couple hours worth of work to do before you leave tonight.
No, she's
Give it
got
to me.
a couple of years worth of work.
And that's something that I come across very often is there are a lot of people operating their businesses more so offline. And one of my passion is taking that and, bringing them online and having them compete in a digital space. And so I recently rented out an office at 901 Hub, and what I really love about that is that I, as a small business owner, I can actually share that office with other businesses. So I partnered up with Saltwater Interactive, and not only are we doing the marketing and PR for 901 Hub, but we also share an office space. So I have that capability over there.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. So again, you're both involved in this new and innovative entrepreneurial endeavor in Martin County called 901 Hub. It is co-workspace. I think anyone who's been involved in entrepreneurship and been around incubators, I mean, we're very well introduced to this co-workspace concept. Many incubators work under this co-work concept, but again, for those that don't really understand how all this works with entrepreneurs and co-workspace, talk a little bit about this new venture. Talk a little bit about what's going on with this facility and how it all works.
Fantastic. Thank you. As an auctioneer, a lot of times I was working on the back end of a situation where somebody went out and started a business and maybe didn't have a good business plan, didn't have everything together, took on more debt than they needed to at the time. And so I came in as an appraiser and an auctioneer selling off these assets and thought that there's got to be a better way, that if somebody is going to fail, maybe there's an opportunity that they could fail or at least work through those where they don't have to take on that much debt. So at a co-working space, you're able to then be able to have a location without having to sign maybe a 3-year lease. And so you can try something out if you're ready to move from your home-based business to the next level. And we kind of want to be that ramp because there are so many great resources, but if you don't know the questions to ask or where to go, it's like they're not there. And so we want to be that community resource where people can find out this information. And so by having everything in one spot, we have that overlap where we have somebody that does design, they meet somebody who does real estate, and then now we're creating that kind of collaborative effort in an area.
Well, you make a good point too, because there's a concept in entrepreneurship that we refer to as collisions, and we talk about one entrepreneur is working on some technology, another entrepreneur is working on some different technology. They meet at the coffee machine, and all of a sudden they've got a collision, and they say, we could work together. So again, talk a little bit about that concept of collisions in this workspace.
I love that, and I always like the nature of where words come from, and that whole co meaning together, and that's really where you have collaboration, co-working space, two people doing what they love coming together. And it's not necessarily a coincidence when those collisions happen, because people that are moving towards the same direction are going to find similar paths of where they can work together. And we all, I think, have been inundated with so much new technology that it's really hard hard to keep up with the change of what's the best new app that I have to be on now. And so being able to have that is around the water cooler. We have workshops where we bring the government in, Martin County, to talk about some of their programs where they have there's a mural program that we're working on now where there's some money available at the government level to be able to help small businesses be able to put murals or make the outside more beautiful.
Feeling, right?
They need to know about that, so we hold a workshop so that those collisions could happen. Artists come, business owners come, and people are leaving and they have a plan.
Right. So what's our current situation at 901 Hub? We open, you're ready for tenants, you're ready for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. The doors are open. We are having, I think, our launch party is coming up. I don't know
September 20th.
Is one of our, is that the Avant Garden party?
That's the Avant Garden
There's
party,
the Avant
yes.
Garden party that we're talking about there that we'd love to come back and talk more. But I think that we are having a grand opening, and so we are ready for business and ready to have some entrepreneurs come in.
There's food at the grand opening?
Oh, of course.
Well,
We're there.
Greg and I are there.
Absolutely. Good deal. We'll have food.
It sounds like a live show opportunity from 901 Hub.
Sounds great.
Okay. How much space? Give us some details about 901 Hub. Space size?
We have, I think right now we have 6 offices left. There's about 3,500 square feet. There's it's phase 1 right now. So as we build this out, we have 2 classrooms, 2 conference rooms. So it is growing, and then the development that we're building, there's going to be a lot more added space to that. But for right now, we have spaces that are from, you could have a mailbox for $150, or you could have an entire office for $650.
I want to ask that question real quick. Talk about those other support services and additional benefits. Do you have copy machine, Wi-Fi, meeting rooms? Yeah, talk a little bit about the services and benefits.
And my background and with my father's business, and I was always kind of the person that was young and into technology and had to provide everything. And so with the printers, the Wi-Fi, the other things, we have all that. So it's really a plug-and-play situation that you can come with your laptop and then you could add into our network, and then that way you don't have to have the $3,000 printer that collates and staples and that. We have that service in there, and the Wi-Fi. You don't have to sign the 3-year contract with the AT&T. We've already done that, so you could just piggyback on that and kind of an economy of scale.
Yeah.
And
Renice?
soon there's going to be a YouTube room available as well. So if you want to shoot a YouTube video, we'll have a room specifically just for that.
Very cool. Very innovative.
And also that since we do have Renice working there as well with her digital company, new members that come in do get an opportunity to work with her and be able to have her on their marketing team and being able to develop that as part of the package.
Now, where is this located?
Yep.
It's at 901 Johnson, right in the downtown
Sure,
Stewart. There's
yeah.
a new Wawa's that's being built right there, and we're right next to the post office, right in the heart of the downtown.
Okay. And let's talk about, we're calling it co-workspace, but do you also have some opportunities for a small private office? A little, you pay a little more, you get the private office. Pay a little less, you can work out in the open. Is that how it works?
Absolutely. Most of it right now is set up into the private offices. We do have some workspace that would be flex space or open for people to come in, but we understand that people's businesses, they want to be able to lock their doors and be able to have stuff. So I think we have 10 offices that are your own office with your own lock, and then we have the other open space as well that's available.
So I always have to ask this question when we do very innovative things like this. I mean, so have you been called crazy yet for bringing this innovative office model to downtown Stewart? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that people understand and see that in Martin County and in Stewart, there's a certain exclusivity, I think, that's there that people can't get to it. We don't have like national law firms in Martin County. I mean, it's a different area, but yet they still have needs where attorneys need to go to the courthouse and they need these conference spaces. So I think that's not necessarily new. What is, I think, new is more so providing an opportunity for the younger entrepreneurs to kind of have that collision, and it's not necessarily based either in law or, it is more organic in how it develops. And so, but yes, absolutely. And people in Stewart are like, really? This, I mean, we don't necessarily like bleeding edge. We want a little bit duller edge, and that's more safe for us.
Right. So now, Renice, you're actually in the facility.
Yes.
You're a tenant. So kind of talk about it from a tenant and entrepreneurial side. What are the benefits for being in a space like this?
Well, what I really like about it is the fact that if I have a meeting, for example, I no longer have to worry about the very loud coffee machines going off at Starbucks. But I also have a very affordable office,
Right.
So people can actually hear me when I talk to them now.
I'm
my
sure that
favorite
helps
thing.
in doing business, yes.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I just really
Probably
love
less
being able
expensive
to.
than Starbucks, too.
Yeah.
Yes, I can bring my own coffee and I get thrown out for it.
Right.
But I really love the idea of the fact that I can come in tomorrow and there might be a new business there, a new opportunity, not only to just meet, genuinely get to know and meet other entrepreneurs, but also to exchange ideas and exchange services.
So I mean, you are the textbook entrepreneur. You were meeting at Starbucks. I mean,
absolutely.
True story.
True story, yes. And actually, I was working there the other day, and I'm like, why am I even here? Let me just, head back to the office because I couldn't even hear the other person on the other line. So.
Nice. Okay. How does one find out more about details and talk to someone about the space, the dollars, and how do they find out more information about 901 Hub?
901hub.com. Very simple, straightforward.
Right. And you set all that up?
I didn't. They already had that before I got there.
But you've enhanced it all.
I will very soon, yes.
Okay, very good. All right, very good. So again, KC is kind of the representative on this project. What are your closing thoughts on it, and what would you like to know for people to know about what's going on, and how do they get you, and how do they start the process of maybe moving in?
The website's a great one. I'm happy to give out my number as well to anybody that wants to call and talk about that. It's 772-263-1565. And happy to be able to talk to anybody about it. It's really the collaboration is what I want everybody to know, and also that it's something that I've longed for is like a think tank environment where it's more so not, obviously we want to be selling soap, but at the same time we want to be giving back to our community and thinking about how can we all collaborate and do this better, not just promoting ourselves, but what can we do that would be better too. So that think tank is a real important component for me as well.
Well, Martin County really did have a history of incubation. Probably one of the first incubators on the Treasure Coast really was created and launched by Indian River State College in the Martin County area. Mm-hmm. So there's really has been a kind of a culture, and there's been some great entrepreneurs that came out of that original incubator down in Stewart, managed by that Chastain campus.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you guys, are doing all the right things at the right time. I think, entrepreneurs, and K.C., you said it at the top of our segment here, that this is about helping entrepreneurs get that healthy, strong start, not get themselves so buried in expense and cost. And this is how it's done.
And I want to say thanks to you all and the things that you provide, because there are so many resources at Indian River State College, and one of the things that allowed me to say that this is possible, because there's so many things that people don't know about. And that's really what we want this to be, is that ramp to find you guys and to get into a program and then be able to take it to that next level.
Absolutely. This is absolutely a great partnership for us with what you're doing too. And I know Renice is actually has been part of our Business Accelerator program in Stewart. So lots of resources that we can bring to your new innovative facility, 901 Hub. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we look forward to having you there and speaking at our speaker series this summer too as well.
I'm ready. You don't have to ask me to speak, but
how many openings do you guys have there?
I think we have 4 more offices that are open, and then I think we have probably the room for probably about another 10 mailboxes, and so we have capacity.
Yep. Okay.
Great.
All right, listen, great work, Casey and Renice. This is just an incredible tool for entrepreneurs, a valuable tool, innovative facility, absolutely needed in our marketplace. So I think you guys are going to be very successful with this, and it's going to pay a lot of dividends for a lot of new small startups in our marketplace. So thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So with that, I want everyone to stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Startup Talk. Got our good friends from the Multicultural Resource Center for Children and Families, our good friends Marcus and Mike, going to be with us in just a minute. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Startup Talk.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And we are back. And for those just joining us, this is Startup Talk from the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute at Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, the Regional Director for the Florida Small Business Development Center here at IRSC. And I am really happy to have with us tonight some very good friends. I've spent a number of hours with these very good friends over the last couple of days. But we've got with us Mr. Marcus Dixon, who serves as the Executive Director for the Multicultural Resource Center for Children and Families right here in Fort Pierce. Welcome to the show, Marcus.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you coming out tonight. And we've got along with Marcus, we've got standout board member and small business owner, Mr. Mike James. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Listen, we've had an opportunity. You guys just are responsible for an incredible organization doing incredibly good work in our community. And I had the opportunity over the course of a couple of days. You guys are kind of in the middle of reviewing strategic plans and getting ready for a new year of operation. And I've really it's been a privilege and a great opportunity for me to work with you guys as you have worked on your strategic plan. So I thank you for that opportunity.
Well, I should be thanking you.
Thank you very much. Those sessions were great. Were great.
It's all good stuff. So let's start with you, Marcus. Just a little background on yourself and your experience and kind of your pathway to MRC, as you call it.
Well, if we go too far back, we'll be here all night. But I'll just start with MRC.
You're not that old, Marcus. You're not that old.
Well, MRC is a grassroots agency that I actually started in 2009 as a result of the SRA needs assessment report that was commissioned by Children's Services Council, United Way, and some other community agencies. And from that needs assessment, we actually put some of those principles in place to develop MRC into a program, grassroots program, that really addressed the academic needs and family needs of kids and families within our community.
Wow. Talk about your role with MRC.
Well, I am the founder and executive director of MRC, and MRC has been my baby from the beginning. And I have a wonderful board that supports MRC. MRC, I have a passion for it because there are a lot of agencies around that serve kids and families. However, MRC has that grassroots focus, and I think that's very important because we're able to address those local needs within our community.
Right. And you came out of this background. I mean, you spent years in other youth-oriented nonprofits, did you not?
I actually spent about 10 years with the local nonprofit here, and prior to that, about 8 years in the military.
Wow. Okay. What is the
Which branch of service, I might add?
The Air Force.
Yes! Yes! I knew it. Good man.
I thank you.
All right. What is the current situation at MRC? What's currently happening? What kind of programs do you offer? I know you got a new summer program you guys are working on.
Oh, man, we have so much going on. First, let me say, we're so grateful for Tom, you and Susie, and what you all have done with us in helping to put together this strategic plan. But I would be remiss without thanking the Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, as well as Indian River State College, for what they've done, as well as helping to contribute to this. Because so many grassroots agencies, if they haven't went through this process, this is a amazing process that will definitely help their business to grow. And it's something that, like, we've been in business for 10 years, and a lot of the things that I've learned through this process process have been amazing, phenomenal, and I'm like, wow. So I see us propelling ourselves into the future, rising really, really high.
So talk specifically a little bit about, because I was so impressed as I learned what your organization did. Talk a little bit about, those services that you do provide directly to school children. It's an after-school type program.
It is an after-school type program. However, we utilize some best practices to accomplish what we do. Within our after-school program, the kids have individual after-school learning plans, and we develop those through an online learning program that once the kids are assessed, we develop their after-school learning plan so that when they come to the program and they say they don't have homework, then the academic work that they're doing is directly related to their school success and what they need help on. And this is proven valuable rather than giving them worksheets that nobody is grading or correcting. So it's been valuable in that context. And in addition, we provide STEM programming for the kids, which gets them to talking about problem solving, talking about how to fix this, how to do that, which is good because it addresses their social and emotional learning skills as well.
Right. So, you actually do provide an assessment when you get a child in the program, and you're basically aligning that student's needs to your resources, and you're actually customizing, for lack of another term, a program for each child.
We absolutely are. It's a daunting challenge, but we've been able to use technology to make it really a smooth process for us when it comes to addressing those individual learning needs.
Yeah, real quick, and now that you've mentioned technology, talk a little bit about it. You've got a computer lab in the facility, and you've got actual high-end software that the students are using.
Absolutely, we have a pretty nice computer lab that the kids utilize for their academic success, in addition to our day-to-day activities that are conducted. And I would be remiss without saying, one of the things that we're doing that relates to technology is this summer, we have 8 weeks within our summer program, and we're studying various countries. And so what we're doing is we actually have a virtual reality kit. And so we're taking these kids to different countries while they're studying during the week at our program.
Now that is cool. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until just now. I thought I knew everything about you guys.
Yes.
So, Mike, talk about MRC from a board member standpoint. Now you're a retired individual who's gone back into business, and we're going to talk about that in a minute because our show's all about business. But you're retired. You're giving back to the community. Talk a little bit about from the perspective of a board member.
I met Marcus probably a month after he came to this part of the world from Alabama. I'm telling all of his information from Mobile, Alabama.
Lower Alabama.
Okay, Lower Alabama. And immediately, if you talk to Marcus for a while, immediately you know that he has a passion for what he would like to see happen, and he's always has an open door if there's something that you can provide and help us with. He personally asked me to be on the board. And so for the last 8 to 9 years, I've been a board member and someone who, through my background, been able to draw people in and be able to go and help and work with the kids. And so my expertise was something that the board used. We have some incredible board members. And the reason that we are doing the strategic session is because we want to be better board members and not just, a lot of boards come out and they just say, well, I'm on the board, and you don't see them till the next year, till there's a voting that goes on. But with us, we are what is called a working board.
Nice.
And from my background in radio and television and promotions and production, I'm taking on the task now of being the person that puts MRC out there so that people will know that this entity is available to not just parents, to the children, but the community, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay. You touched on the Franciscan Ministries, and I want to, again, like you say, it absolutely, is necessary to spend a couple minutes because they have really done so much for our community. But kind of start by, what are your funding sources? Where does some of your funding come from?
We're funded through Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. Thank you. And in addition, we're also funded through the United Way of St. Lucie County. And this strategic planning process that we're going through right now has been funded by the Allegheny Franciscan Ministries. We were one of the five organizations within the community who were selected to participate in this round of strategic plan or capacity building. And so there are 4 other agencies, but we were one of those 5. And so Franciscan Ministries is funding this venture.
Our good friend Yapinda Shabazz. I mean,
Absolutely.
she has really taken the time to get to
great person.
Yeah,
Great
she's gotten
person.
to know our community and understands the needs, and just having a big impact on what we're doing in Fort Pierce. That's for sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about you guys had to apply for a grant, and I in learning a little bit more about your program, I mean, you guys really have had some success stories. I mean, you as we talked in the planning sessions, you guys are very good at tracking data. I mean, you're doing a good job of maintaining your data, comparing results year over year. Talk a little bit about that commitment to data.
Yeah, well, when we started the agency, that was one of the things that we realized that we needed to do from the start, because we didn't want to, so I guess you would say, chase the tail, or the horse. So we started that from the initial onset and made sure that we had processes in place that allowed us to track whatever data that was needed by our funders. And that has actually transformed over the years. It used to be paper process, and now we've actually gotten to the point to where a lot of our data is tracked utilizing various apps and software that we've been able to purchase. So it's been very beneficial for us, because when our funder comes and says, let us see what you're reporting on, let us actually see the factual data, what goes with it. We can pull that information just like that and provide it to our funder. And I'll have to say they've been quite impressed with the fact that they don't have to chase us to get that data, and it's instantly available.
Sure, that is impressive. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about how many children are involved in this program. I mean, it's you're kind of at a max capacity with children, so you're obviously somebody knows what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Our overall number is served is 125 kids annually, and we average about 50 kids daily within our program, which is located in Fort Pierce. And by the way, we will be launching our Port St. Lucie summer program as well this year at All Nations Life Development Center, located at 862 Glenview Court. And from that, we're actually looking to try and launch our full-time school year program as well. The board has taken on that task, and so our long-range plans is to launch that school year program as well, because the services that we provide, especially that are academic and family strengthening and related, we've had a great inquiry from parents in Port St. Lucie as far as us getting our services down there.
Michael get all that done. He's retired.
Yeah, just snap your fingers. It'll happen.
Of course, he didn't do much work when he was working.
Oh, no.
Somebody knows too much.
Somebody knows. That's the problem with being a local. Yes, I know. Yeah.
Yes.
So again, I did want to ask you too, and you just touched on it, but is this the first summer you're actually doing a summer program? Is this a new launch for you guys?
Oh, no. We've previously provided summer programming in Port St. Lucie for 3 years. However, when we moved into our facility in Fort Pierce, it was just too daunting of a task to take on providing a summer program. So we realized that, and we didn't want to stretch ourselves thin, and provide a poorly run program. And so now we're at a point to where we can, if you want to say, relaunch out there in Port St. Lucie, and that's what we're planning to do.
Wow, nice. Do you interact sometimes? I mean, I know that some of your volunteers and some of your tutors and some of those folks that provide the academic work, they're actually teachers from the school system.
Actually, we have some retired individuals that actually come from First United Methodist Church in Fort Pierce. We have about 4 or 5 individuals that come in. Hi, Miss Peggy. And, they come in and volunteer on a regular basis. And they not only provide tutoring, but they also provide a gardening program for our kids, so which has been very beneficial. We're in our trial phase. We're actually in the process of planning some new things. So we're just trying it out right now to figure out what we can grow and what we can't grow. But it's proven very beneficial to the kids, because they can go out into our little garden and they can grab a rubella from the garden and taste it and try it out. And, it's amazing. They're like, oh, that's a different taste.
Right. And what I've been most impressed with is really your your focus on academics. So many after-school programs, they're kind of, they're recreational, they're social, but you really do have a focus on academics.
We do, and once again, that was designed by that needs assessment because that's what parents said they wanted. What they told us they did not want was a place where their kids just go run around and they're babysat. That's what they told us they did not want. And so we made sure that we focused on academics, and we provide academics through various means. STEM is a great way to provide academics. And, it has proven to be a very successful formula in that the kids, they enjoy coming to the program. They want to come to the program because obviously if you just provide academics, the kids are coming from school, they're going to be like, Mom, Dad, oh no, I don't want to go there today.
Right.
So we've had to be very creative in that. But what it's done is it has challenged us. And, it's been a great challenge for us.
Yeah, nice. So, Mike, let's, you come out of the real world of business. You owned and operated a business now, and now you own and operate a new business. You get a little plug tonight. That's what you get. So plug your current business.
Understanding radio as I do, a little plug. But
Leave your wallet.
the name of my company is High Mom Productions, and basically it is music, promotions, DJs, sound systems, entertainment, that kind of thing. But what I'm doing with that is connecting with Marcus in that most kids either like music or they want to know the history of it. How did Jay-Z and Beyonce get to where they are? Why is so it's an opportunity to meet them at their level. Right. And so what we're going to one of the things that I'm very excited about introducing is that possibly taking the kids to the internet, and they would have their own little either podcast or radio station over the internet to get an understanding of how that business works. But my business is being in the public and taking MRC out into the public. I'm a 42-year veteran of that kind of work. Wow. Plus, I was a school teacher. I worked for the city of Stewart for a couple of years, and so all that I have in my on my bucket list that I've checked off, I want to make sure that these kids start their bucket lists.
How is it, it's so important that board members, I believe, bring some real world business experience and discipline to nonprofits. If everybody's kind of, operated in that world, sometimes you kind of lose track of those real, the business acumen part of this.
Right.
How important is it to you, Mike, that you kind of bring that real world business experience?
We are fortunate to have some incredible board people.
Yes.
And each one of them has an expertise in those areas when we did our assessment in those areas that was needed. And not only is it business, but it's a social aspect. We have some that are former teachers, some are former business operators, because what it gives you is confidence in the route that you want to take. Because especially with these kids, the kids are looking for somebody to help them to navigate a lot of stuff.
Right.
And if we had every board member here, you would be amazed at their backgrounds. Right. These are some, I guess, well, Marcus, he picked us and or tricked us. I don't know. It all depends. All depends on which one.
A bit of both.
But he's made it possible for board members to be that working board and not just a board that on a piece of paper you have them. And so how important that is, what happens is it takes a lot of pressure off Marcus because now you have a board that understands what's out there. And so we're taking our expertise to help move MRC in the right direction.
Right. So I, of course, like I said at the top of the segment, that I've had the privilege and the opportunity to work with you guys on a strategic planning session, which I've enjoyed every minute of it. But talk about a little bit of the assistance that was provided through the SBDC and the CCTI on that strategic plan for you guys.
Marcus, you're the director. You can take that
Well,
one.
once again, we're a grassroots agency, and so going through a strategic plan was something new to us altogether. Although we had, if you want to say, a sample one from prior years, right. We never had one that was this in-depth. And so the experience and the time, the passion that you and Susie showed and demonstrated, and that you used to guide us. I mean, it really is inspired the board to. I mean, the board, it's like they left there and they were refreshed. They were recharged, and I'm like, wow. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
So the experience provided has been great with the SBCD.
I guess
Tom did that?
I know. I've never inspired anybody.
What was more Susie than Tom?
Oh, okay. All right. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But one of the things that happened is when I was riding home, I had to pull to the side road and text Marcus and say, Marcus, what we just left was exactly what we needed. We needed guidance also. Just like Marcus does not need to think, well, I'm the only one involved in this. Right. And so it's an immediate impact.
Yeah. Even as a nonprofit, it is important that you continually look forward with proper planning. Marcus, speak to your innovative board of directors and their vision. I mean, they really are a very innovative board, and they've got great vision for the future for this organization.
Yeah, well, they do. And, what I like is the fact that they realize that although we are a nonprofit, we don't have to have a nonprofit mindset, and which I think is important because, at the end of the day, we want to stay in business and continue to provide services. Right. And what drives that is money. Right. And so we have to get that money one way or the other, in a legal way, of course.
Of course.
Rats. There goes a couple of my ideas.
Well, I said they were innovative. I said they were an innovative board.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. Sheriff Mascara's online.
Well, to speak to that point, it's the board's responsibility. It's not Marcus's responsibility. It's the board's responsibility to make sure that happens. And we have a board that, from the months that we've spent together, we're a board that's going to make that happen. Yeah.
Well, again, Marcus, it really is an incredibly powerful program, and I know you're making a big difference with these young people. Your data proves it out.
Absolutely.
And, testing, my wife, I am married to a 6th grade math teacher. The Florida Standards Assessment test are all important.
Absolutely.
And I know that you're making a difference for these middle schoolers. And speaking of middle schoolers, what is the age range of your students?
Our age range, it varies from 6 years old up to about 15 years old. And I say about because, typically what happens is when they're 14, several of the parents say, what can I do to keep them here? I want them to remain within this environment, this culture that you all have, this culture of excellence. And so we do what we need to do. We typically bring them in as like a junior staff, and they may be able to earn a stipend or something. And they also can earn some on-the-job experience and skills as well.
You have, I had the opportunity to visit your facility, beautiful facility. Where is the facility located?
It's located at 302 North 23rd Street in Fort Pierce.
And it's a former church.
It's a former church.
So the sanctuary is now kind of a mini performing arts center. You've got a great stage, and so you can do all kinds of things with that. You had an attached building that had, of course, I think there were Sunday school classrooms. Now they're classrooms for you.
They're classrooms, computer lab, STEM lab, leadership room. Yeah, we've done quite a few renovations there to bring it up to par.
It's obvious. I mean, the very nice facility, very well maintained and very appealing, facility. So very nice. How does a parent become engaged and get involved in your program?
Well, they can give us a call at 772-672-3710, or they can go to our website, which is www.mrcfamily.com, and it'll link them directly to me.
Okay. Now, school is coming to a close. So a number of your students, you'll transition into your summer program now that you kind of wrapped up the regular school year.
Right. Our summer program starts June 10th, and we're undergoing registration right now.
Okay. What kind of availability have you got in the summer program?
Summer program, once again, our ratio for staff to kids typically is 1 to 14. And we typically enroll about 50 kids within our summer program. Quality is our main focus within the summer program, so we like to keep our numbers low so that the quality and impact that we make is huge when it relates to the kids and families.
You're doing that. Listen, again, I cannot say it enough. It's really been a pleasure. It was an honor to work with, as Mike has pointed out, it's a great board, and Marcus, you pointed out. So impressed with your organization. I'm glad I've learned about it. I know it's already very popular, but I hope you don't mind. I may go do some selling for you, because I'm telling you, I'm impressed with the operation.
Thank you very much.
So listen, keep up the good work. I appreciate it. Look forward to continuing to work with you. And again, another big shout out to Yapinda and the Franciscan Ministry and the Children's Services Council, they're and United Way, and Karen Knapp and her crew.
Yes.
You know, doing great work for organizations like yours that are doing great work in the community.
Yes,
So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will bring to close another segment of Startup Talk. Great conversation this evening. Got a new co-working incubator space down in Martin County, City of Stewart, and got a great after-school program here that's doing some very innovative entrepreneurial things, the Multicultural Resource Center right here in Fort Pierce. As always, you can find out more about what we do at the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute, and by visiting that IRSCbiz.com site. With that, we will talk to everyone next Thursday on Startup Talk.
You've been listening to Startup Talk right here on WPSL, Port St. Lucie, WSTU, Stewart, WPSL and WSTU worldwide on Alexa and Google Home.